Hey there y'all, this is Hades, and today we are discussing Bleach 1000 Year Blood War, and we are continuing with Sunshi versus Lily Barrow, and also we're gonna ask the question, can Zanpakutos get pregnant? I can't believe I'm saying that, but you know what? I'll give you my 2 cents on that. I think my thought on that is probably gonna be a little different from everyone else's, but yeah. Alright, let's just dive right into the review, shall we? Alright. So yes, we're essentially cutting straight to where Sunshi got a hole blasted right into his gut, and we get Lily Barrow just there, just spouting, more nonsense on how he's God's messenger and all this and that, being super righteous. And we get his bird head form, which looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna do a lot of CGI. They didn't do that much from what I could tell. Looks like it was all mostly, well, when I say practical, more like traditional instead of, CGI, which I'm not a fan of the CGI thing, but I get it. But yeah, actually, Lily Barrow looks pretty dang good, and yeah, it's insane. I'm not gonna lie, it's insane how Lily Barrow. Remember when he was a sniper? Now he's this crazy seraph-looking beast that you see like as a Final Fantasy boss, But it is what it is, as he's this bird creature now that's just delivering judgments. And Sunshi tries to get away, but of course Lily Barrow easily sees through it. How does he know he's hiding behind a building? I'm assuming he just senses him at this point. And his Zanpakuto is essentially just telling him, Koyatsu is just essentially, she's just telling him, that it's okay, she's essentially telling him, it's okay to give up, just, close your eyes and just wait for it all to end, and it will end for Sunshui. And Sunshui's about to go for it until Nanao actually arrives and actually, gets Sunshui, to wake up again. And again, Sunshui, he's happy that she wasn't caught in his Bankai, but he's also like, what are you doing here, And she knows of the family, her family's Zanpakuto, the Iza family, where she's asking about it, and Sunshi's surprised about this. But of course, Lily Barrow comes in and breaks the party up, as he's like, oh, so you came to check up on your master, well, head captain, but that's bad to waste a life. That's a grave sin. And Sunshi uses his ability to hide in Lily Barrow's shadow. Now, I'm curious, how in the world does this work? Okay, clearly they're in Lily Barrow's shadow, as we see. Okay, so if Lily Barrow fires, let's say he fires the blast that we saw him earlier at the shadow, that means they get teleported to another nearby shadow, right? Emitting from Lily Barrow. So if Lily Barrow made a bunch of lights around him to cut away any shadows that could be around him, would Sunshi die? Would he get just axed off right there? Would he get trapped? I honestly have no idea how that works. That's what I assume would happen, because the shadow from Lily Barrow gets protruded all the way up to above the beak, which even Lily Barrow's like, I'm surprised you could come from a tiny shadow. Not gonna lie, Lily Barrow, we all are. But then we cut to right here, where Sunshi's essentially, explaining that, he has, the Zanpakuto, the Issa family, one of the sacred treasures, and it's hidden within Koigo Tetsu. Forgive me, Japan, for mispronouncing her name. And then we cut to a little flashback with Sunshi remembering his brother. Get a good, nice little flashback there between Sunshi, his brother, and essentially, his brother's wife with Isana's mother, which would make Isane Sunshi's niece, I believe. Yes. So yes, it turns out that they're actually related, which is pretty cool to see. That. Does Nanao know that? I'm not too sure if Nanao knows that, but she does know that Sunshi did have some form of relationship with her mother, and of course, the mother wanted Sunshi to hide the Zanpakuto, and in doing so, Koigetsu gave birth to another Zanpakuto to be able to hide that ability. Now, when I say give birth, I don't think Sunshi, did the deed with his Zanpakuto. I don't think that is. I think when he says that she gave birth, as a sense that she created like another version of herself, like split away in a sense, made like another copy of herself, somewhat similar. I guess if I could say similar to a Stark, where he like split his soul, but in a sense, in this case, not split, but like had a piece removed, so that way it could become its own being. And that's why it has like the much more younger female appearance versus the much more mature, older looking form of the sword. Because again, it gives birth like a part of her came off to become another sword. Another Zanpakuto spirit. That's what I believe it is. I might be a little confusing here, but I hope I kept you guys with. But of course, the mother wanted essentially to take the sword because all the males in that family get killed off in a sense that they just drop dead, get sick and die essentially. They don't get murdered or anything, just get sick and die from the curse essentially. And the mom thought, Suntri's brother's wife essentially thought that if we have it go away, that her husband might live. Turns out not. Even doing that doesn't work. But even the Isane's mother got killed. Sorry, Isane. Why am I saying Isane? Nanao. Nanao's mother. I'm so sorry. Why am I speaking of Isane? Sorry, Nanao's mother was actually killed off too because she lost a sacred treasure and she was put to death by Central 46. The guys we all love. And now let's cut to the story of how Nanao uses the sword, which I'm actually mostly okay with, because when she first uses it, Lily Barrow is like, okay, that's a very, very shiny sword. I can't see the blade of it, but you know, and she does say, well, it's because it deflects the light of a god back at the user, which she kind of give away what its ability is, but of course none of us knew that at the time. Where Lily Barrow's like, oh, being called the god ain't sounding so bad. But my biggest problem, like this whole thing is pretty good, but like this whole fight sequence and everything. But my biggest trouble in this entire fight, how it ends, how they defeat Lily Barrow, is Sunshri just so happens to have a sword with him that could damage and defeat Lily Barrow. Like he just so happens to have like the blade that'd be able to do it, and not just cut him as we see now strike at Lily Barrow, and he blocks it and it just cuts his arm off, but also deflect his own attack on him. Like if this sword could work on Parnida, Gerard Valkyrie, or Askin, like it could like deflect any Quincy abilities like right back at them. Like let's say this sword could even work on Yuha. I would be like, okay, not bad. Okay, they had this sword this entire time. They could have used it, but they didn't know they could use it would work on the Royal Guard. So I do hope we do see this sword do participate in the fight against Gerard Valkyrie, or even maybe Askin to an extent, or maybe even on Yuha. I think that would very, very help, serve the purpose of the sword just being a Deus Ex Machina, because just literally this sword saved them. And they just so happen to have the sword, like Sunshi just so happens to have it. It's just very, very, way, way too contrived, for me. So yeah, I think that's like the worst part. But if in the future, if we do see it, them using it on the other Stern Ritters, and it works on them, then I'll be like, okay, then I'll be less hard on it. But as it stands, I'm not a fan of it. But again, now Sunshi, again, the whole fight I really liked. It's just the sword setup thing. Just I don't like that, but everything else I think was very good from the from Koiketsu, giving birth to another Zanbakuto, to Sunshri helping Nanao, to showing why Nanao is working for, or being a part of Sunshri's his squad, and then Sunshri backing up Nanao. Like Sunshri's a guy that just doesn't want no pressure on him. He hates it, and if he can just pass it on to someone else, that's great. But in the end, he can't do that because he loves Nanao. He loves his friends. He loves his people. The Soul Reapers. So he has to help shoulder that burden. It goes against his nature. He's gonna do that, and the fact that he stood right behind Nanao and helped her in her time against Lily Barrow, because in the end she managed to get a good strike on him, but she was never going to be able to defeat him on her own because she was way too afraid when she even got cut on her foot, on her leg. So yeah, overall I do like it, but the fact that the sword just so happens to just literally come out of nowhere and just be like, okay, yeah, here you go, use this to kill the main guy. You literally have no other abilities to be able to even hurt him. Even cutting off his head didn't work. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna give this I'm saying it because this was a very good episode, but as a story's perspective, they would be dead without the sword. So I'm gonna give this episode a 5 out of 10. And yeah, I would have given it the same rating this back then if when the manga first came out, if I was reviewing them at the time. So yeah, I might be being a little harsh, but I gotta be consistent with my rating. So yeah, if it does come back that they use this sword against Gerard, or maybe Askin or even Yuha Bak and it works on them, like it did with Lilibaro, then okay. Then it's just not a one-off weapon to use against Lilibaro. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that ends my review. If you listened this far, I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day and take care. Later.